CBS presents this program in color.
Everyone in this arena has a money stake in one of our famous couples. The red section has its money on Chad Everett and his wife, Shelby Grant. The yellow section backs Jack Carter and his wife, Roxanne. And the blue section is betting on David Ladd and his wife, recording artist Cheryl Ladd, as we play the game of celebrity gossip, Tattletales. And here's the star of Tattletales, Bert Convy.
I don't know what's going on here. Welcome to Bob and Carol, Ted and Allison, Frick and Frack. I don't know. Used to be called Tattletales, but we're playing games here, ladies and gentlemen. Shall we start playing games? Let's start playing games. Fellas, have a seat with me. Ladies to the rear, that's right. We'll come back and start our first round of Tattletales after they're all situated and ready to go. No, around this way.
Unpredictable.
He is going to blow up a standard inner tube until it explodes.
Unbelievable.
Well, we're home tonight.
Unforgettable.
Are you an actor? No.
Boy, that sure isn't the voice for it, is it?
The legends live on. Buzz till dawn. Tonight, starting at 2 a.m. When you're up again, one too many times.
Makes you feel kind of stodgy, doesn't it?
Only on Buzzer. Let's play.
Oh, boy, it's wild in here today. Let's say hello to our couples, shall we? First of all, David Ladd and his wife, Cheryl. Next to David and Cheryl is Mr. Jack Carter and his wife, Roxanne. Next to Roxanne and Jack is Mr. Chad Everett and his wife, Shelby. Careful with the bones there. Don't hurt the bones. Okay, you know how we play the game, ladies. We're going to ask the fellas a question. They're going to be coming to you with clues in just a minute. Ready to go? Off you go to listen to your music, and we'll be back with you in just a moment. Okay, gentlemen, ready to go. First question, here it is. It happened on a plane. Chad Everett is right. Boy, they're starting with a vengeance today. Tell us about it, Chad.
Well, we were coming back from Spain.
On a plane.
And on a plane.
Rain in Spain.
And it was rain. And Shelby was just a lot pregnant. And there were a lot of single men on the plane, and I was up, she was sleeping, resting, and I was up having a drink in the lounge section. I was talking with a steward. And there was a particularly affectionate lady there, who was a stewardess, and she came over to say hello, and there wasn't a seat available in the lounge, and she decided that she could best talk to me eye-to-eye level, so she occupied my lap. I was really trying to, be decent about the whole thing, and Shelby had awakened, and she walked down the aisle, and with a lovely smile on her face, she walked up to this girl and reached out, and on a sort of right, I don't want to mention the exact piece of anatomy, but sort of right forward thorax area, she, with a big smile, tweaked and asked this girl to move. And whereupon this person moved. And then she continued on about her business. And so that happened on a plane.
That is the most gentle account of the riotous scene I have ever heard in my life.
You gotta...
All right, doctor, how about a clue now that Shelby probably won't have any trouble recognizing?
Tweak? Did you say tweak?
No.
Tweak.
Tweak.
Tweak will get it.
Tweak will
Tweak.
do it, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Let's bring on the ladies.
Tweak.
All right, ladies, we have asked the fellas a question, and we and we have the clue. The question is, it happened on a plane. And the clue is tweak. Tell us about that, if you will, Shelby, please.
Did he tell you about it?
Yeah, he did. But I want to see if you're gonna.
Oh, boy. Well, I was very pregnant, and we were flying back from Spain, And Chad was sitting over with a steward, making some travel plans or something, and I started to get to go to the little girl's room, which I did frequently around that time. And I saw a stewardess politely sit on his lap. And so I saw Chad sort of do a shove, and I thought, well, he can take care of himself. And I started to go in, and I thought, take care of himself. So I went over to her, and I smiled sweetly at her. And how do you tell this? I sort of put my hand under her arm, and as I smiled, I twisted or tweaked, or what did you call it? A certain part of the body, and she smiled painfully while I did it.
And got up. That's what he said. You're right. Okay. She's only been flying with one arm lately, that young lady.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies, we'll come back with another clue in just a moment. Here we go. Fellas, next question coming up. It happened on a plane. Same question. Who's first? Jack was. You were first, Jack.
We were flying to Mexico, to Acapulco. And we met a very wealthy boy. He owns the Las Brisas Hotel in Acapulco, and he also owns the mountain. He owns Mexico, everything. And he invited us to a home, to a villa.
That's wealthy, isn't it?
Yeah, he's Roberto Trier. He produces films too, and he invited us to a gorgeous home. We didn't know where it was next to Las Brisas, next to the castle or something, and we're there, and a beautiful yacht pulls up, and we got on board the yacht, and some nice little kid is running, serving us and feeding us and giving us drinks, and Roxanne says, what a nice boy, I'm going to tip him. And she starts to tip him, and this Trier friend grabs, what are you doing? I want to tip him, he's such a nice boy, this deck boy, this one. He says, this is his yacht, that's President Alaman's son. Whoa. With the little T-shirt, she thought, oh, what a nice kid.
Yeah.
It isn't funny to tell him, but in Mexico it means a lot of telephone.
No, you don't tip the owner, I guess.
Oh, yes, he was so sweet and cute, running around, serving, feeding us all, and run his yacht. And we said, nice kid, I'll tip him a couple of pesos. Here, enchilada, panono. He could have bought us, Greece, America, and everything.
Okay, it happened on a plane, and the clue would be, happened on a plane? How'd we get on
a plane, but the cue is yacht.
The clue is yacht. Well, if that doesn't confuse the dickens out of him, it happened on a plane and the clue is yacht. Okay, that's what it is. A one-word clue and it's yacht. Let's bring him on. All right, ladies, we have another question. It is, in fact, the same question. It happened on a plane. The clue is yacht. Roxanne. Tell us that story, Roxanne.
We flew to Mexico and to Acapulco, and we were met by some people, and while we were there was this charming man who said, please, let me pick you up on my, in this boat and take you around and so forth. And I was very lovely, and a group of people came up with this gorgeous yacht. They took us out. We were treated royally, and this one fellow was just darling. He was waiting on me and getting me everything I wanted, and I wanted to tip him, and he was the president's son.
That's what he said. You're right. $100. Okay, at this point, Cheryl and David have yet to score. Roxanne and Jack, Shelby and Chad are tied in the lead with $100 apiece. Okay, time for a Tattletale quickie. And this is it. Ladies, this quickie is for you. $100 for each correct answer. Here it comes. The handsome young man across the way is undressing without pulling down the shades. Would you take time out to watch? The handsome young man across the way is undressing without pulling down the shades. Would you take out time to watch? Don't give us your answer now. Just think about that, and we'll come back to you in just a moment. And we'll pull down the shades, too. Okay, David, what shall we going to say?
No question about this. She'd probably get out a pair of binoculars to watch. I mean, Cheryl is one of the great voyeurs in the business.
Is that right? Oh, yes. Okay, so obviously your answer is going to be yes. Yes. Let's bring on Cheryl. All right, Cheryl, in that event, what would you do?
Well, all I can say is curiosity killed a cat, and I'd watch.
That's what he said you'd say. And you're right. He said you get out a pair of binoculars, is what he said.
I beg your pardon.
Thank you, Cheryl.
It's twoo.
Okay, Jack, how about Roxanne?
Roxanne would stand by the window and she'd go, "Isn't that awful? Isn't that vulgar? Isn't that crude? Isn't that wild? Isn't that marvelous?" She'd be saying that for about 4 hours.
Yes, right. As long
Then
as
she'd go up with the shade.
Okay, the answer is, I think, a yes.
Yes,
All
a definite watcher.
Let's bring on Roxanne. Roxanne, what would you do? That young man over there.
Gee, I, want a comparison shop, so I would say yes.
That's what he said. You're right. All right. Little window shopping never hurt anybody. Thank you, Roxanne. Okay, Chad. What about Shelby? What would she do in that case?
Shelby would holler, "Honey, come quick, check out the competition." She would probably watch very deftly, and if the guy turned out to do this 2 or 3 nights in a row, she might even try and find him some help by calling one of her friends. I don't know. She'd watch. Sure, she'd watch.
She'd watch.
Human being.
Okay, let's bring her on. Shelby, what would you do?
Watch.
That's what he said. Okay, at this point, Cheryl and David have $100. Roxanne and Jack, Shelby and Chad are tied with $200 apiece for their sections. We will change places now. Fellas to the rear, ladies front and center. While we're doing that, we're going to break away for just a minute, but we're coming back with the second half of Tattletales. Come back with us.
What do we have behind that curtain?
Beautiful modern furniture.
Beautiful patio furniture. Open up the curtain and show her what's back there. You have a beautiful set.
Let's make a deal. Furnishing the fun. Weeknights at 8 on Buzzer. Let's play.
Okay, we're back. We've changed places. I have the ladies out here with me. The fellas are all set to go backstage. Our studio audience is winning money. We have a good, close game. And whatever rooting section is backing our top winning couple, as you know, we had a bonus of $1,000 to that winning rooting section. All right, gentlemen, I'm going to ask the ladies the questions now. Their turn to give the stories and give the clues, and we'll be back to you with those clues in just a minute, okay? Bye now. Ladies, ready to go?
Yes.
Here comes the first question. A story about relatives. Cheryl's first. Would you like to tell us that story, my dear?
This is just a terrible story.
Good.
Maybe, okay. David and I were visiting my folks just before we got married, and we were talking over wedding plans, and we were having a nice, quiet evening at home, and David had his bare feet up on the coffee table. And we got to talking about, I don't know, diseases and things, and I said, well, David has got terrible athlete's foot. Now, my parents are going, really? And David is going, oh my. So I try and cover it up the best I can and say, oh, it's not catchy. I've taken a shower with him.
That's perfect.
You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean. That's called stepping in it, and not with an athlete's foot either.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cute. Now we need a clue that David's going to pick up on. A story about relatives.
I'd say shower, except that David and I kind of have a nickname for his athlete's foot, and we call it the fungus. So maybe if I say fungus.
Fungus.
I say fungus.
Fungus.
Among us.
We do get some weird clues, don't we, folks? Fungus. Okay, let's bring on the fellas. All right, gentlemen, we've asked the ladies a question, and we have a clue. Here's the question first. A story about relatives. The clue is fungus. David.
On national television, you would do this. I mean, it's not.
did.
It's not bad
We're
enough.
happily married. It doesn't matter.
No, I'm talking about the fungus.
Oh. I see. I'm sorry, darling.
I can't get in. I mean, this is really embarrassing. I have this problem with my feet, and I was walking around her parents' house like the week before we got married. You know, I was going back to meet the family and the whole, you know, and Cheryl points out the fact that I have athlete's foot.
That's the story she gave us, and you were right, David.
She did, yeah, that's what I thought she did. I don't believe you did.
Yes, she told us the whole story. Every bit of it. But don't you worry about a thing. Nobody knows but you and me, so don't worry about it. All right, fellas, we'll get back to you in just a moment with the clue. Ladies, ready to go? Here comes the next question. A story about relatives. Same question. You're up, Roxanne.
Jack and I were going together just before we were married, and he brought his mother out to visit him. And we took her to dinner. We went back to his apartment. His mother went to bed, and he and I were sitting watching television, very proper. We were necking. And his mother came out of the bedroom, walking with a glass with her teeth in them, shuffling through, and she stopped, and she stared at me, and she looked at Jack, and she said, "What's the matter? The girl ain't got a home?"
Okay. Guess the clue for that. What's the 1 or 2 word clues going without a home? Story about relatives.
Teeth?
Teeth?
Because his mother is always with her teeth.
Okay, that's the clue. That's teeth, right?
Teeth.
Okay, let's bring on the fellas. All right, gentlemen, we have a question and we have a clue. It's the same question, a story about relatives. The clue is teeth.
Oh.
Teeth.
Oh.
Jack. All right, Jack, tell us about that, if you will.
I moved my mother out here from New York so she could be a television star on the Merv Griffin show. I said, "Nice luggage." She showed up with 2 shopping bags with a chicken dying hanging out of the bag. She came to my apartment to live with me. I said, "No, Ma." She said, "Well, you still gonna fool around? Well, you need girls, terrible, dirty. Well, who needs it? I wouldn't bother you. Want to bring them home, bring them home." So I bring on with Roxanne one night. We're necking on the couch. My mother goes through it like Ren through the mountain, you know? With the teeth in a glass, right back and forth.
That's what she told us. You're absolutely right, Jack. Okay, at this point, Cheryl and David, Shelby and Chad have $200. Roxanne and Jack are in the lead with $300 for their little section. And we'll come back with more of Tattletales right after this message for you.
Where do you catch TV with class?
I think I've got the answer right here.
Where bow ties are cool.
How do you do? Gonna be in New York a while?
And a man always stands for a lady.
You're in a jam. Here I am.
The answer is in black and white.
Pardon?
TV was never this cool.
Sort of a flexible message, you might say.
Buzz Till Dawn. Tonight, starting at 2.
Want you to kind of relax, settle back, and enjoy yourself.
Let's play, baby.
We're back. We have a close game, and I have a tattletale quickie right here that's going to decide it. Fellas, I'm going to ask you the question. Don't give me the answer. You know that. Here it is. Close game, too, fellas, in case you didn't know. How often would you say you and your wife have an argument? Once a week, once a month, or practically never? How often would you say that you and your wife have an argument? Once a week, once a month, or practically never? Think about it, fellas, and we'll come back and get your answer and decide this game in just a moment. Roxanne is already laughing. Cheryl, what's David going to say?
Oh, we have a lot of little things, but they're not really arguments.
Yeah. Well, it does say argument.
I'll say once in a while we have a good one.
So once a week, once a month, or practically never?
Practically never.
Practically never. Okay, let's bring him on, find out. Okay, David. What is the frequency of an argument in your family? Once a week, once a month, or practically never?
No, once a month. Regularly.
You know what? I think this is going to be the time of the month
David,
you're going to have one.
David.
Yes, dear.
We'll have ours this month.
I see.
In a little while.
She said practically never. Isn't that funny?
We don't really have very many arguments, honey.
No.
Isn't that right, dear? Isn't that right, dear?
Sorry, David. No score there. Thank you, though. Roxanne, how about you and Jack?
How about once a minute?
Once a minute isn't on my card.
Can I tell you, our arguments are like a Neil Simon play.
Funny.
sensational. Really, you should all be there to listen. It's terrific. I would say frequent, constant, all the time, every day.
But all I have is once a week, once a month, or practically never.
Oh, well, if it's limited to that, then it'll have to be once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah. You'll have to clarify that to him.
Okay, let's bring on Jack. Jack?
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How often would you say that you and Roxanne have an argument? Once a week, once a month, or practically never?
Well, I'll tell you, if we didn't hold hands, we'd beat the hell out of each other. It's once a week.
That's what she said. You're right.
Once a day.
We never fight.
Your rooting section hardly reacted to that. Yellow section's got to learn to cheer up here. Thank you, Jack. That's what Roxanne said. Okay, Shelby, how about Chad? What's he going to say?
I guess I can't win, but I hate to be a bore, but hardly ever.
That's not boring. That's lovely. Practically never, you're going to say. Okay,
never.
let's see if Chad agrees with you. All right, Chad, what's the answer here? Once a week, once a month, or practically never?
Well, we don't average once a week, and we don't average once a month, so I have to say practically never.
That's what she said. You're right. You're absolutely right, Chad. Thank you. Okay, let's see where we stand.
Spirit.
What's that? At this point is where we stand is Roxanne and Jack Carter are the winners for today. Roxanne and Jack, you have won $400. We had $1,000 of that for a total for your rooting section of $1,400. We're coming back with more of Tattletales in just a moment. Please don't go away.
Up next, people are actually rewarded for telling lies on To Tell the Truth. Then just try to guess how these folks make a living on What's My Line. Stay tuned.
Okay, we're back. We had a good time today. David Ladd has a picture that maybe you'd like to tell us about. Would you, David?
Yeah, The Klansman. It's probably a film that you've all been reading about with Richard Burton and Lee Marvin.
Uh-huh.
And
looks good?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be looking for you in that. And we'll be looking for Chad in Medical Center this year, back for the 6th year. Jack, we'll be looking for you on street corners all over America. Bert Covey saying, I hope you'll be looking for us on Tattletales next time. See you then. Bye, everybody.
This is Jack Clark speaking for Tattletales, a Mark Goodson, Bill Todman production.
You know that show Tattletales? The one where famous celebrity couples reveal their deepest, darkest secrets on Game Show Network? It's crazy. Well, you should hear the stuff they actually say. Just the other day, Meg Ryan's on-screen partner Frank Runyon admitted he got turned on during their love scenes. Well, Tattletales is so great that I told my girlfriend Beth about it. Well, she told 2 friends who told 2 friends, and so on and so on. And now Tattletales on Game Show Network isn't such a secret anymore.
The secret is out. Watch Tattletales at 1:30 p.m. Eastern every day.